born to preach the gospel. I was born to preach the gospel. I was born to preach the gospel. And I sure do love my job. Yeah. I was born to preach the gospel. I was born to preach the gospel. I'm born to preach the gospel. And I sure do love my job. Yeah. Yes, I really love my job. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. Oh, I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. Yes, I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. Get firmly rooted. So let's get firmly rooted. Let's get firmly rooted. So let's get firmly rooted. Oh, I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. Let's get firmly rooted. Firmly rooted. Let's get firmly rooted. Yeshua, 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 Yeshua. I'm a disciple that makes disciples that makes disciples. We're disciples that make disciples that make disciples. We are disciples that make disciples that make disciples. We are disciples that make disciples that make disciples. Let's keep firmly rooted. Firmly rooted.
Good morning, Rooted Men. So nice to be with you this morning. I know that I wasn't supposed to be on. Tim Morton has jury duty this week. And when we talked yesterday, he said he'll take next week and I'll do this week. And so I had to prepare a message. And I'm not quite as skilled at it as most, so it takes me a couple minutes here or there. Good morning, Ken Gooch. Nice to see you here with us this morning. So far, it's just you and me, man. We didn't have a live stream yesterday because there was power problems throughout Oxford. We were down here. Tom was down at his house. The pastors were out. Tom was getting ready to leave to go to a wedding. Pastor Grigsby was up in Minnesota. So there was quite a bit of confusion. And so it ended up being no broadcast yesterday, other than the Flourish, which was a clown show, to say the least. Anyway, we had two books. We were scheduled to do two books from Hebrews in chapter 11. I decided after looking at them last night that they really belong together anyway. It's one big statement. I mean, it's really one topic, one thing. And so I thought it would be better if I just lumped the two of them together a little bit. It's a little bit to read. So I'm going to put it on the screen and hopefully this works. I don't normally do this. So, and being an amateur at this, I don't get many chances to do this. So let me try to share the screen real quick. Bear with me. If it doesn't work, hopefully you can still hear me. in the Hebrews 11:1. We'll start at 11:1, go all the way to 11:12 to chapter 12. Not chapter, it's verse 12. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for, and assurance about what we do not see. This is what the ancients were commended for. By faith, we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible. By faith, Abel brought God a better offering than Cain did. By faith, he was commended as righteous when God spoke well of his offerings. And by faith, Abel still speaks even though he's dead. By faith, Enoch was taken from this life so that he did not experience death. He could not be found because God had taken him away. For before he was taken, he was commended as one who pleased God. And without faith, it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. By faith, Noah, when he warned about things not yet seen, in holy fear built an ark to save his family. By his faith, we condemned the world and became heir of the righteousness that is in keeping with faith. By faith, Abraham, when called to go to a place he would later receive in his inheritance, obeyed and went, even though he did not know where he was going. By faith, he made his home in the promised land like a stranger in a foreign country. He lived in tents, as did Isaac and Jacob, who were heirs with him in the same promise. For he was looking forward to the city with foundations, whose architect and builder is God. And by faith, even Sarah, who was past childbearing age, was able to bear children because she considered him faithful who had made the promise. And so from this one man, and he as good as dead, came descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky, and as countless as the sand in the seashore. Okay, hopefully that worked. I think we get to a point in all of our lives when we start questioning what we believe and what we don't believe. And I love the very first sentence in that chapter. Faith is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see. As we look at these people in the stories, the Enoch and Abel and Noah, God was looking at the heart of each man. I mean, both of them brought sacrifice. Cain and Abel both brought sacrifices to God, but only one pleased God. So maybe it wasn't the sacrifice. Maybe it was his heart. He just wants us to believe, right? So here, the lesson, the fascinating part about this lesson is it's written to Jewish people. It's written to people who have lived their entire lives under strict Levitical law. You don't do this, you don't do this. When you do something wrong, you do this, you do that, you do this. A lot of do's. A lot of do's. People who lived their whole life taught that it was their adherence to law that made them right with God. They followed the rules. God loved them. That was the only thing that mattered to them. Now there are people, they were being told that didn't matter. It was all about their faith. And after reading the scriptures from Enoch and Abel again this last night, and as I'm looking at them, nothing changed. That's the fascinating part about this thing this morning. They were living under the strict Levitical law. But we look at all these people in the beginning before the Levitical laws came out, and every one of them lived by faith, and they were right with God. So to me, the surprise is that they have always, it's always been there that that God wanted our hearts, not our obedience. The obedience comes from having our hearts. And that's why there's so many examples of faith in this scripture. There's so many times that the author is telling us by faith Enoch, by faith Noah, by faith Abraham. Are we caught in the same trap? That's what I want to know. Do we sometimes disqualify ourselves because we know our heart? I think of it as like a brand new white shirt, and you're eating spaghetti and it hits the front of the shirt. And you get home and the next day you wash it, but there's always a trace of that spaghetti on that shirt. You could still see it. Now, if our hearts are the same, if our sin is still there and we can still see it in our heart, have we really let Jesus wash it clean? Jesus wants us to wear that shirt because the stain isn't there. Just like he wants us to wear our heart out in the public and out around people. The stains are gone. They've been thrown as far as east is to the west. That's the message I have for you today. I appreciate your patience. I hope everything worked. And may someone see Jesus in you today. Have a firmly rooted day.